Welcome back. Thank you very much for your time. We're grateful that you can join us. Indeed, as the doing of the Lord. Of course, LK, Minister LK, thank you very much for coming by on Friday and blessing us as well. Do enjoy his music. My guests are seated in the studios ready to deal with the issues as and when they come. Dr. Piakubi, and we want to be sure on that doctor thing. I have a mischief, so I'll read a story on that and we'll talk about
it. Honorary.
Oh no, we'll talk about it. Yeah. So Dr. Piakubi is the Dean for Dominion Theological Seminary, and he's also a development expert, and he's a man of many things as well. Thank you very much as always. It's a delight to see you.
Thank you.
Always in your very expensive apparel.
Hey, Yehovah. This is priesthood garment.
Oh, okay. So it's not like it's expensive.
Yeah, it's just I bless you.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, the Son.
Anyways, Reverend Nana Obafo-Boni is an architect and also the leader, the leader of the Eagles Network International Ministries. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to see you.
New Pope will say in Latin, in nomine et Padre et Filii et Spiritus Sancti.
So he translated it from English to Ewe.
That's not ever. That's not ever. That's not ever. I know ever when I hear it. I tell you he's back. Anyway, so GTech has warned over, and this is just me, using of doctorate academic titles without merit. In recent years, Ghana's academic landscape has witnessed a troubling trend, the increasing use of academic titles such as doctor and professor. People use professor as well.
But for that one, I'm not sure. How can you even use professor?
Well, I think that people mention these things in jest, prof. So I guess
they write them.
Yeah, so maybe that's what they are talking about. But I think if GTech is serious, they should send their people onto the public buses that travel long distance. Do see a lot of the herbalists who are called doctors, so they can deal with them because
maybe they don't
even have honorary at all.
Maybe they don't.
It upon themselves.
Maybe that would be the licensing authority from the medical side.
They are not doctors at all.
No, I'm saying that it will not be in their purview. It will not be because they are just doing doctor books.
Oh, well, whatever it is, they should get on the buses.
The buses.
Because they'll hear the passengers even shout, Doc, Pachamami, you know.
Maybe they are the one, Anyways, that's on the side. So anyone who has not gotten a PhD, they should stop using the dog. It's important. It is important.
Well, you see, you are not allowed to use it.
How are they allowed?
But what are they even given in the first place?
No, it's an honor, but you are not allowed to write it or use it in public discourse as the one who has earned it. Mm-hmm. You understand? So let's say if, like how you introduced us this morning, you can say, okay, Reverend Anayao is head pastor of Eagles Network International Ministry. He's an architect and a builder. He holds an honorary degree in honorary doctorate in divinities, another one in humanities, and so on. That's all. So it's just to let you know that the person's public contribution has been recognized by academia and has been given some sort of recognition for that public work. But beyond that, you don't carry it along like Dr. Piakubi, who has actually worked for it. I mean, you are writing in excess of 300 pages, in a 3 to 5 year period. And what makes a doctorate quite challenging is, unlike a master's, you are not interrogating a phenomenon, you are adding on to knowledge. So it's new knowledge, or you are reviewing existing information and then topping up on it. So it's very, very tasking and it's very arduous. It's not something for the under 17.
Does it worry some of you when you've gone through these and people just use?
Very. For justice, dear, it's very, very. Because it's sometimes in academia, we don't wear badges like soldiers and police, where people look at us and they'll be seeing our ranks right away.
Right.
And see, they don't. And so sometimes you go through all these wahala, and for some of us, for example, for me, if my family members are watching, they will know that the entire family, I was the first person ever to go to university. I was the first person. Okay, and it's not because of anything. My brother and my uncles and them tried. Because there was a family ordinance. Some people might not understand some spiritual things. There was a family ordinance that in my family, 2 things that cannot happen. You can live in all your life, but you cannot get wedded. It's not possible. I was the first person to ever get wedded in my family. And even then, I lost my wife later on. Okay. Now my nephews and they are all over, but they don't know that somebody has to stand and fight for them.
Absolutely.
In my family, I was the first person to ever went to university. In fact, I finished my PhD before my mother finished university.
Wow.
Yeah. Because he also wanted to be part of the distance. Let's break the curse for our distance. And it wasn't easy. I mean, I would be crying. And so after the end of the day, that you can't find out that if you get moringa and dandelion, you can be quite a doctor. That's my time.
You understand, Coco? So you can imagine.
Go and get dandelion.
Yeah, you can imagine. I mean, if you look at the price he's had to pay.
Yeah,
you know,
my God, the reference to moringa.
Sacrifice. Then someone just decides to call. I remember one day I was dealing with a pastor friend of mine. Well,
right.
I mean, we used to be friends back then, and he has this prophetic gift. So I went to his office and he said, "I'm an architect. Are you an architect?" And I said, yes. So he was telling me like things about me and all that. Then later I discovered that he was actually a draftsman, and not even like he went to a draftsmanship school, but it's those people who have learned on the job by the roadside type of. In fact, I think it's part of the things that even severed my friendship with him. I was so irritated, upset, angry. Of course, I wanted to find out which year did he finish, what is his stamp number, when did he write his GI, only to find out that, I mean, come on.
Come on.
I mean, come on. Is that because you open the door at a bank, you call yourself a banker? Look, stop that. So I'm the one. Where do you are? I'm a banker. Where BOG? Really? What do you do at BOG? Oh, we open the door for people to come in and out. Of course, you are a banker. I mean, come on.
Anyways,
so I think GTEC's call is in the right direction.
Absolutely.
And please, if you have an honorary, it's an honorary. Please be honorable enough and not be throwing it about as though, it's an end degree.
Right.
It's a tough journey. Coco, I've just finished my master's.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, look.
Yeah.
Let's
Of course.
So when my colleagues said, let's do the PhD, I thought these guys are bonkers. I think they've been drinking lemon juice.
That is why when you finish your PhD, instead of Doctor of Philosophy, it's actually permanently hair damaged.
I see.
The PhD,
permanently head damage. I see.
But if you humble yourself, become preaching, healing, and deliverance.
Oh, I see. Okay. Nice. Anyways, I vowed not to do a PhD. Okay, the things I vowed not to do, I get to do it. I don't want to do a PhD.
Yeah.
I'd rather go and do my law things and go up. PhD, yeah. When I see it coming, I'll pass it right.
Never. All my children, don't waste your time. I'm going to do things.
Anyways,
go find money.
Absolutely.
End up in classroom.
Yes. Court of Appeal grants injunction against Amewu and Speaker in Saul case. And so the Court of Appeal sitting in Koforidua has granted an interlocutory injunction brought by Professor Margaret Kwaku and others from the Saul traditional areas to restrain John Peter Amewu, former Member of Parliament, for Hohoe. I don't know if you know the details of it. We read it earlier. But it's a very interesting case. But they are praying the court to make sure that until the final determination of the case, he will not hold himself as a former MP. Now that he's former, and of course he's S. Gracia and all the others that must be given to him, should not be given to him until the final determination of it.
Once his parliamentary term is over, the money is if it is paid before the 9th of that 6th January when Parliament dissolves. So it's interesting. These are some of the challenges of our justice system, Koku, because if you remember, our former Auditor General also got justice when it didn't matter, so it was just for the records and so on. Similarly, I think Chachuchi Kata also got his name cleared, but he had been put in Sawam and whatever will happen would have happened. So it would be nice to see how it plays out, but I think that even if the reliefs are granted against Peter Amewu, I mean, it will just be for the books.
Yeah,
but I don't think
do we use those things anyways, the books?
Yes. Because when the history of our parliament is being written, those things should be corrected. I think during the MPP time, one Amu man or so, I think he won the seat for MPP, and then I think, or NDC, one of them, and then an other person was sworn in parliament. The case was done after the 4-year period was over, even though the person was paid all the emoluments that come with the office plus the ex gratia. But the parliamentary record was amended that within that time period, this was a substantive member of parliament. But I'm not sure if the court granted him any relief that he also should get his salary for 4 years at the V8 and all that. But I think it just goes for the records because it tells the story of our democratic journey. So it would be nice to see how the outcome will be. That's the interesting thing about law. I don't know why you want to do it, but
I love very interesting things. Yes, I love very interesting things.
Yeah. So for me, when I heard it, actually, I felt a little bit bad because I like Peter Mewu.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I like.
There's a bias there.
Yes. I like Peter Mewu. I thought that Peter Mewu is somebody. Number one, I always felt he's a very intelligent guy. And I saw what he did also for people at Hohoi. So that made me kind of gradually fell in love with him. And also the fact that I'd always been an advocate. Like, for example, I've been telling my Asante people, not Ashanti people, because they are different. My Asante people, please, if you are an NDC, come out. Okay? Because we want our democracy to look very beautiful. Not just, of course, if you go to Texas, you know definitely it's a Republican. If you go to California, you know definitely it's a Democrat. But nevertheless, you will see a lot of Republicans in California and vice versa. The same also, I am looking forward to a time that we have a lot of MPP people from Volta region, have a lot of NDC people from, what do you call it?
I can't speak in areas.
I can't speak in area. Let me even generalize it. And so when I saw Peter Mewu, I thought that curse is going to be broken because as of now, that is one of the very few curses we have in Ghana. Ghana, we have been known as people who love each other. I mean, we don't know tribes, generally speaking. As much as sometimes we talk about it, if you go to some other places,
in practice it's not.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I know if you sometimes race, I know a Ghanaian who was going to church in Singapore, that he was stopped because he's black. He said, no, black African doesn't come here. And they stop him. In Hong Kong, a place will be written, like Filipinos and dogs are not allowed. If you see that it's so painful. So as much as we enjoy some of these things, we have not reached the destiny yet. And so I like Peter Mewu. Good luck to him. But the Sikane, the money he has chopped it long time ago.
I see.
It's just go to the records. That's all.
I see. Very interesting. We see, let's see how it goes though. Ghanaian students are brought to Picket at embassies over unpaid stipends. The coalition of Ghanaian scholars abroad, beneficiaries of the Ghana Scholarship Secretariat studying in various countries, have announced a planned demonstration on Wednesday, June 4, 2025, to protest the government's failure to pay long overdue stipends and allowances. This is what they had to say. And I quote, "This protest is not a political move. It's a desperate cry for survival. Many of us are stranded, unable to pay rent, buy food, or access healthcare. We feel forgotten by the country we are representing," the statement read. Unquote.
I can understand and sympathize with them. If I understand the word long overdue, it means
14 months.
Yeah, so long overdue means that it's dovetailed from the past administration up until now. But government is, like they say, it's a continuum. So I would expect that the government will quickly attend to these people. Really, if you've not found yourself in a strange land and broke before, you will not understand the cry of these young people. And for many of them, their visas also are mainly student visas. That does not permit them even to hold jobs. And even when they do, they can't do, beyond 4 or 5 hours in a single day. So it's quite a challenge. And some of them, our Ghanaian mentality, when you're at a Bruchi crowd, we expect and say you'll be sending some things down already. So
I mean, that's why they sold the land to take you there in the first place.
Exactly. So there's a lot of pressure. I think one of the things that we can do going forward as a medium to long-term solution is that in spite of the pressure on our scholarship secretariat and schemes, we should be realistic in assessing what we have the capacity to support per time. Yes, there's so much pressure. Look, we should start looking at how some of these brains we send out there can come and establish faculties to do some of these courses locally and get accredited, so that we have fewer people having to go out there to bring in such expertise to show up our economy. And also, let's put in place stringent measures through our embassies and consulates to ensure that every single one of these people return. At least come and serve their bonds and make sure that they pay back Mother Ghana, because there's such a high attrition rate, if we are going to be honest. I mean, they cry foul like this and they finish their courses and that's it. So I think that our embassy should be very stringent with this. And I think that those in America, Donald Trump will really be a good help. Though, unfortunately, Trump is also advocating that when you can get a degree in America, you should be asked to stay, because then you can make valuable contribution. But we must judge on these things, especially when our students find themselves in the Scandinavian areas, where they are not too harsh on immigration, because they themselves have dwindling populations, so they are very welcoming of immigrants. And then sometimes when the immigrant even has intellectual prowess and can really contribute, they want to find ways of keeping you in the system.
By giving you a woman to marry them.
That also is one of that. So I think that on the flip side, our embassies and Honorable Kojeto and his team should work very hard to ensure that apart from helping these ones, they are also made to come back home to contribute their quota. I know it can be challenging. I know a young man who had done something in one of these faraway countries, I think in the, don't know whether it's New Zealand or so, and something in agriculture. Brilliant ideas. He came back home, the ministry would not mind him. He sent his proposals time and again, go and come. And some guys in Ireland have asked him to come and relocate to this family, and he's out. He's been out there, done masters, done his PhD, one of the sterling students, and he did his project work around something that can work in Ghana, a very nice modular thing. These things that can actually predict harvest to the T. It can tell you can get X number of tomatoes from this plant because of this greenhouse. He's an expert in these things, and we can get serious food security when we have such guys. But hey, so he's had to go back and go and help Ireland, which has more than enough food to have more food security. And I think that it's not a good thing for
I see.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Being a student in a foreign country, I can understand, because from my first degree all the way, I studied outside.
Okay.
And when I went, I supposed to have a scholarship from some Koreans. And for whatever the reason is, I didn't have. So I have to leave by myself. And as Rev said, your student visa will not allow you to work. If you work just only in the library, to get some things, just to be able to buy 1 or 2 things for yourself. And still, family thinks that you've traveled outside the country. So you're supposed to, sometimes the letters, those days we don't have messages, because in the 90s, it was letters. The letters you get, you read and you feel like committing suicide. In fact, I don't know if I told you, there was a time I almost committed suicide. Oh yeah, outside the country. I even bought a medicine killing myself. Yeah, it was a church, an Assemblies of God church that I went. They were having musical concert. For whatever reason, I said, okay, let me just attend the musical concert before I mean, how in the world? If you would go kill yourself, why you have to wait?
Yeah.
I went and they were playing a certain hymns. I love hymns. I grew up with hymns, so I love hymns. They were singing a song like called "In the Garden." I come to the garden alone. What did you? So that was how I was touched. So I really understand their situation. Sometimes it comes to a time, one of my very close friends, his name was Tito. He's dead, and you know Tito will pick me with his car. He was with black Americans, so when he saw me as the only, we were two blacks, me and one Nigerian guy. This Nigerian guy actually has sponsors, so his food is the one that I eat almost all the time. Then in the morning, this Filipino American will pick me where I live. He say he though I'm an African, he sees me as a black American. Hey man, hey, Charlie, let's go. Then you have a food called pandesal. Pandesal is bread, like the round one. He will give me one. That will be my food for the whole morning up to the evening, because after we finish class, then I go to that Nigerian guy and he will cook something. He has a girlfriend from Myanmar. They will cook something that I'll eat, whether you like it or not. So in there, it's whether you lead me, I will follow, but whatever you give me, I will swallow.
That's right.
So I really understand the situation.
Absolutely. Well, we pray, and I pray that they get onto the negotiation table so that a demonstration does not look as though it was fueled by,
and Kwaku, just very quick,
any other opposition party. I just want people to speak to them, quickly resolve their issues so that they are not punished.
Just real quick, these are some of our other Ghanaians do outside when something like that happens. They become gigolos. They become they call them call boys, where their name are on the list of some people, and the white old women actually invite them to sleep with them so they can make money.
Oh.
Yeah. And I know it for a fact because I went to school there. And when you talk about some of these things, sometimes they will say like, oh, Pastor Justice, you know my situation now, what can I do? That's where I can make money. And some of them genuinely, they don't want to do that. They became male prostitutes.
Yeah, I heard of a young guy who also had to sleep with an old man, to make it through, and also to sponsor his family back home, because one of his sisters was we were in the same faculty. So he opened up. If I were having a discussion on a page about this LGBTQ thing, and being a pastor, I was very strong. Then he brought it up that, you see, we need to understand circumstances that bring people into these sort of things, and that not everybody does that because they have chosen that lifestyle. Then he sort of DM'd me, on the side, and in fact, I felt so terrible, and I apologized to him. I counseled him. I spoke words of encouragement, and he made a statement I'll never forget. He said, "Anytime I'm in Ghana and it's a Sunday, I'll look for your church and visit you."
Oh,
yeah,
I see.
So what Doc is saying is a reality. Some could go into drug peddling, whatever, just to survive. Because when you are desperate in a strange land, I mean, in Ghana, you can just walk to your auntie's house. Just make sure you are there towards lunchtime.
Absolutely.
They'll feed you.
Even
try and loiter around.
Be eating wachi.
Yeah, try and loiter around. Pretend like
wash my hands.
Yeah, pretend like you're washing the car.
Also,
when it's around 5 p.m.
they do
supper time, you eat something.
Oh, Ghana, Africa. You see, that's how it is. Our leaders should just sort our continent. We'll not go anywhere. Can you imagine me? And I've thought about this. There's the reason why I'm still in Ghana. When I think about waking up at 5 a.m. in the cold, 5 a.m. in Ghana is fine. In the cold and shivering, that's what has kept me here. Otherwise, I
was waking up at that time, 4 a.m.
Why?
And I was there even in summer. But sometimes summer mornings are as cold as 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. And it's no kids play, I tell you. Sometimes you go to work without bathing because, Charlie, if you bath, the kind of cold that will meet you, outside there, in addition to the shiverings you are having, even with the water warm, so then we come and rather bath 5, 6 p.m. when we dock. I wish for anyone. And for a fifth-year Akito student, the best I could get was, picking refuse and mopping. That's what made me take a decision. 2002 it was. It's been 22 years, 23 years, I've never gone back. I said, I can't imagine that at this level of education in my 5th year, this is the best I could get. And what actually broke me is when I found a lecturer of UNILAG, University of Lagos, who had come to do his PhD and was keeping long. So he was actually mopping with me in the toilet.
Wow.
And said, I have to do this because I want my family to join me, because I don't want to be separated for that long. I don't know when I'm finishing. In fact, my heart broke, tears filled my eyes. I said, but this one could have been supervising my project.
That's right.
And I said, Charlie, I'll go back to Ghana, be called an architect and be broke. Than be here and be called, Mr. Cleaner Man.
As for that 4 a.m. matter, I can clean over 4 a.m.
Cleaning was not as much my problem as
4 a.m.
seeing people with certain level. And you know the funny thing, the young man that interviewed me for this cleaning job couldn't pass his O-level. I mean, that's why he's working there with the cleaning company.
But you...
And he's in the office and he's interviewing me.
I feel your pain now, right?
Hey, bro, make we not go there. It's early in the morning.
It's early in the morning, man. And so, I mean, we are just trying to let you understand what these... it will be a good time to gather a lot of you and a lot of them as well. You tell us the stories, because these stories will change people's mind. Even though some people will still resolve to go.
My big brother was a security man at a shop.
Right.
Then the manager called, who was also just an A-level guy who couldn't pass, and called him and said, "Are you aware you're the most educated person in this shop?" Yeah, because he was in his final year in the civil engineering or third year. Said, "You are the most educated person in this country. You need a vision and ambition, not plenty degree. Don't go back home. Stay here. You'll be far richer than me.
Wow.
You are far more intelligent. I could never be half as intelligent as you are."
Wow.
So he's there.
Okay.
He's there. He's a senior engineer now, collecting awards for his company.
Interesting. Well, we pray that the leaders solve our problem so we can stay on the African continent. Well, back to Ghana. Transport fares, GPRTU hints at of imminent. If you are doing this, why would we want to go? Imminent reduction. The Industrial Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, Abbas Moro, has hinted at an imminent reduction in transport fares, promising commuters some relief as the Ghana cedi continues to gain strength against the US dollar. It was this is what he had to say, and I quote, "It was a marathon meeting. The Transport Ministry is looking for some percentage, and the transport operators are also looking for some percentage. Finally, we closed halfway. We are going back, and tomorrow we'll come and meet them on the final decision," unquote. Doc, you see, the point is, I know both of you cannot, relate to issues of trotro. Okay, you are big men. You are big men. You are big men. You are big men.
We can't. We don't live in an island. Our family members still use trust.
Right. But the point is, how long it's taking for us to reduce. I don't think it's much of, the calculation and how to break even, how to make profit. It's for me, for want of a better expression, sheer wickedness and greed. Yeah. That's these are. I don't know what you.
Yeah, first, Koku, for your information, sometimes, or from time to time, I intentionally park my car and take trotro.
You do?
Oh yeah.
I do that.
Wear shorts, wear my sneakers, wear a cap, just sit in a trotro. Because if you're a pastor, you are almost also like a politician. If you don't take care, you detach from the people and the reality of life. So I do that seriously. I do that. And sometimes in Medina Road, and you see that the traffic and everything, we are sitting and this. My biggest struggle actually is not at the trotro. Are the people who are sitting in the trotro.
That's right.
Especially some of them who have been hustling the whole of the day, and the powers that come from their armpit, it can slay you, and not because they have an anointing, but it's a different anointing altogether. So I've been there. Now let's talk about.
I think who has suffered under Pontius Pilate before. The way you are bowing your head. The man has been slain several times, and there were no ushers to hold him down.
And he couldn't say it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so for transportation going down, it's really a good thing. It's really a good thing. For when it comes to when dollars and stuff like that and fuel goes down and the transportation has not gone down, sometimes I don't fault them too much because, when it comes to everything, most of the time, drivers to me are most of the time victims when it comes to some of these things because it takes long for them to increase, because they don't choose to increase or decrease individually. Unlike those in the market. I told you, Koku, I go to market, including this weekend. I was in the market. I went all the way Tema, the harbor, bring this thing with the children. They want to sleep. I said, Masa, Mummy and Co, you have to come with me. See how father does the thing. Go buy fishes, fresh fishes, and fish. And you can see that things are still expensive. Okay, because individually control the price. I came from there to Medina Market, one yam is 60 cedis. I was buying 50, now 60 cedis. So I was like, the things, when the dollar and stuff like that goes down, they say, oh, you know what? I'm still having my old stock, so I can't reduce the price. When the dollar goes up, then they say, oh, because the dollar has gone up, so they will increase the price. So I still think that as they are regulating some of these trotro, and they also need to come to do some of the regulations there. So I'm glad that they are going to reduce the price. I'm glad they are going to reduce the price.
How long it took?
This morning, actually, before as I was driving, I actually heard that a 15% deal has been reached.
Wow.
So it's going to be implemented. As for the drivers, like Doc said, I agree with him. When it comes to GPRTU, you would notice that even when there's a hike in fuel prices, they always need to have this sort of meeting with the various unions and then the Ministry for Transport before the prices and the fares are announced. So I think that they have followed due process. I think the negotiation that has taken a bit of time, that's why there's been a drag. Of course, to them, because it's coming down and it would seem like a loss, so they'll drag their feet in the negotiation process. But I think that it's a step in the right direction. If the 15 has been agreed on, I'm looking at if it should come even closer to somewhere 10, 11 cedis per litre, I'm sure we could get even something, a much more bigger margin. And it would also dovetail into the prices, because oftentimes one of the biggest factors that food prices guys point to is the cost of transportation. And I think, like Doctor said, I would also join. I think the Ministry of Trade, even though we are practicing a free market economy, must prevail on our market queens, because like you said, the corporate greed is coming from them. Right. In all sincerity, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Yeah. As recently as this past week, you see one tomato like that, 5 cedis. For crying out loud. It's not Yesu Moja, you know what I'm saying? So the greed in the system, Ghanaians, we pretend to love each other, but sometimes I think that we don't deal well with each other at all.
I agree.
And some of them, let me just give you a typical example. I don't know whether you've ever bought a phone screen protector, right?
Yes, I have.
I resolved more than a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, that I will never buy those sort of accessories unless I'm buying it from the Nigerians and Malians who sell them. Yeah, and the Nigerians who sell them. Because you meet a Ghanaian, the same phone, he will tell you, oh, this is a privacy, this is special, this one is 50 cedis. And you turn to these Nigerian guys, and it's 15 cedis. Exactly. And I'm asking myself that this Nigerian selling it for that 15 cedis is actually still making a margin on it. And the Ghanaian is selling it for more than 3 times the price. Do you want to build a house from your first sale? For crying out loud. You see, and I see that because these people come from places that are populated, they leverage on numbers for the margins. So I don't know whether it is our greed or our inability to understand that we can leverage on the numbers. Because if you are selling 300 more phone cases rather than 30 or 50 in a day, and each of them has a margin of maybe 5 cedis on the 300, you are going to be better off than having a margin of 40 cedis and selling only 50. I don't know, people just can't sit down and just do that simple math, so we hurt ourselves. Sometimes, I don't know whether you live in your own house. Some of these landlords come, and what they are asking for. Sometimes I tell my wife, I'm so grateful that we've built, because you see an apartment, and what they're asking for, Koku, I'm wondering that, so how much will the person earn to be able to take this much for 2 years out of that and still pay utility bills, still be able to feed, still be able to transport themselves to work, and all this is feeding into the corruption. Yeah. So because if people have to have such an extreme cost of living, they will be thieving. You see, so please, especially food, transport is great, but the food guys in the market, Madina, it's heartbreaking.
It's bad.
You see some onions and the price, man.
And we are always blaming the politicians.
Yeah, and
the politicians have very little to do with this.
And I'm asking, you don't think that someone else is also selling that same thing to your family, the way you are doing it? You don't think so? You think you are. Anyways,
they don't care. Let me tell you a joke I heard this week.
The pastors,
let me tell you a joke I heard this week about Nigeria. A guy went to his landlord. The landlord came to him and said, Now your 150,000 naira increase some go to 350 now. Then the man said, oh, Oga landlord, why? But nothing has happened for such a huge jump. Then as he was talking, he got a call from his daughter. So he put it on speaker. I said, yes, what is it? He said, our hostel landlord has increased our thing to 400,000. Or they said, your hostel manager na thief now. Then the guy, the tenant started laughing at him.
Because
if he said, thank you. So we are just stealing from each other. And it's a terrible cycle.
Anyways, well, the next story falls within your expertise. The management of Lakeside Estate has pushed back against reports suggesting that the entire estate was submerged during the torrential rains that hit Accra on Sunday, May 18, 2025, clarifying that the flooding was localized and not widespread across the residential enclave. They issued a statement, and this is what they had to say. I quote, it was actually the bridge connecting Community 5 and 6 that are overflowed due to the adjacent stream bursting its bank. The flooding spread to part of the Medina Institute of Technology and the homes near the University Bridge, not the entire Lakeside Estate. The statement said, he went on to say, in 2023, we wrote to the National Petroleum Authority and the Adenta Municipal Assembly objecting to the siting of the station at the edge of the bridge. However, the MPA in January 2024 granted the permit after reviewing the location. We have issued firm instructions to our Public Works Department to clear all drainage systems. Residents are also being sensitized to regularly clean the gutters in front of their homes to ensure free flow of water. And of course, according to the Ghana Meteorological Service, in June, we are getting to the peak season of the rainy season, of course. Those your area, down. I just feel like, I don't know whether the authorities go there that often, but my feeling when I enter there is that there's a lot of chaos and people don't exercise circumspection when they are doing some of these things. Also probably because there's no supervision. I just have a feeling with the way I see things happening there.
Kwaku, it comes back to the same issue we've been talking about, the planning, implementation, enforcement of rules, and the general loss of a sense of patriotism among us as Ghanaians. The beauty of the challenge, sorry, not the beauty, the challenge with these sort of gated communities is that, permits are granted en masse for the entirety of the development. So I think that what the Public Works Department of the Municipal Assembly should do is to really have a dedicated patrol team that moves within some of these gated communities to ensure that standards are being maintained, drains are being cleared, and some of these things are being catered to. Because much as I agree that the station they are mentioning could be a serious contributory factor, the issue is that once you see that challenge, because you manage the estate, they should have put in mitigating factors because permit has been granted, the station has been sited. What are the consequent effects of having the station sited in spite of your protest?
Right.
So this is the potential volume of water and backlash that can take place. What have you done? Because you are saying a 2024 letter also.
Yes.
That means we've had enough time to be able to put in the mitigating factors to deal with these things. So I really partly blame the estate, and I hope that they've taken some sort of indemnity and insurance to be able
I was going there.
Yeah, to be able to, compensate at least the residents and then those in and around the community who have been affected by this negligence. Because much as they may want to dodge it and side the station and all that, it is your franchise. It's Lakeside Estate that has been mentioned. So you are culpable and you have to do something about it. Let me commend Airport Hills. I've had opportunity of designing and supervising a few buildings there. One of the beautiful things they do there is that they have an internal task force that actually goes around to monitor, to ensure that standards are being maintained. So even when you finished your house, there is a standard finish from your front wall to the drainage. Either you have paved or you've grassed. If you don't, it's your house. You finished it, you bought the land. They will not allow you occupy. I mean, that's how strict they are. Yes, I designed a house for a client, and he requested for a swimming pool. So I had marked out an area for it, but we had not designed the pool. You will not believe that when we try to set out the pool to do at least some excavation and then get the drawings, they actually, because they monitor, they came around and stopped the construction. So I had to get back to my engineers and get all the construction drawings. Then they actually told the client that swimming pools are done by experts. So you cannot just let a mason, do like he's just doing an underground tank. So then they will give you a list of experts that have undertaken swimming pools there in the enclave that have not failed. Because if your swimming pool fails, it will undermine the foundation of your neighbor and so on and so forth. And they made sure the client did that to the T. They tested the pool, ran all the systems to make sure there's no leakage, everything, before he was allowed to swim in his own swimming pool. And I'm talking about having bought the land at that time in excess of 300,000 USD. You understand? So this is it. You see, what I'm saying is that we don't always have to privatize everything for it to work. So let us make sure that if somebody is paid to work, let's permit the person to work. The political interference, that's what causes all these things. I remember once we were doing a project somewhere, and an EPA person came and was asking for our permit for felling certain trees because, trees are scarce in the ministry area. And we're trying to create a car park. So we should have designed such that the trees were incorporated. Just a few would have to be taken out. Guess what? When he came around, 1 or 2 calls were placed, and the officer on ground was called and warned that who sent him to that place, and that is it even his jurisdiction to go around. Just being patriotic that, I work in this office, and I don't think that the policy we have concerning trees, these trees must go down. And he was only trying to raise a query. I mean, it was called, look, come back to the office. Who sent you there? We have to stop these things and allow systems to work. And perhaps we'll be having less and less. I'm told 3 lives were lost in Adenta.
4 actually.
4, quite a shame.
Including
I got stuck myself in Adenta.
Yeah, you were telling me
I'd
yesterday.
gone to visit my sister.
You were telling us yesterday.
It took a good Samaritan to get me out there, and there was a bridge we were crossing. I saw cars that were up to the, side mirror level. I said, Jesus, can I go? I said, let me take a step of faith. Shall I wade through the water? Now you move with speed, second gear, and hope that nothing hits your sump. And by the grace of God, why should we be praying for a miracle?
Exactly.
In the common sense.
We're just wrapping up in some few seconds.
I'll not say anything.
Yeah, Okes.
I've said everything.
I see.
But Okes, I went to Okes, so.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, and we don't have so much time. Quickly, the students with a gun, that's sad.
Yeah, that's what has been happening now in the high schools. It's not just only there happening. So that's what has been happening. I'm trying to even put it on our platform.
I see.
I don't know if they...
It's sad. So all students, you have to go there quickly and resolve it. Anyways.
Tell Honorable Sansubache and Honorable Foucault, they are all okay.
Oh, they are all okay people. They've listened to you. We'll see how it goes. Dr. Apia Akubi is a development expert. He's also a dean for Dominion Theological Seminary. Reverend Anaya Bafaboni is an architect and, of course, also the pastor with Eagles Network International Ministries. Thank you very much for coming. We're grateful.
It's a pleasure
Absolutely.
to be here.
Remember that there are a lot of conversations around B and the business around it. Of course, mental health is also coming up. You want to stay with us? We'll take a break. When we come back, there's more.